Now, if they were to ban TikTok fully, then what's that say about the government when they decide that you no longer have the right to use your freedom of speech? There was nothing funny about that. Then what? When you want to go protest, when you want to go speak up, they're already trying to stop people from protesting for things. Going out to the streets and protesting. It is so crazy to me that you are literally celebrating the fact that the government's taking your actual rights away, that you deserve to have those rights to have freedom of speech. It wasn't because of TikTok was some Chinese app. Like, hello? That's not what it was. It's not because TikTok is some Chinese app. It's because they want to take your rights away. She started with me first. I didn't say anything about her. She lied on me. And she literally said, she lied on me. She literally told people that I scammed people out of a GoFundMe. She doesn't have receipts on. The money that I spent at the store that people was filming and taking pictures and saying that I was spending money was money I got from my brother's service when my family gave us $300, and the money that I got from TikTok. She has no right whatsoever to speak on me. And when you said, why don't you visit your mom for 30 hours after she was shot? First of all, I didn't even know who was dead, so I don't know why you're telling me these things, but you don't even know what's going on. First of all, I sat there in a cop car for hours. I sat in a literal cop car, in the back of a cop car, for hours, because the police didn't tell me who died, and I heard 2 people died. I didn't know if my mom and my brother died and the guy lived. I didn't know anything until the chaplain came and said, sorry for your loss. Literally said, sorry for your loss. And I said, so are they both dead? And he said, I can't even tell you. Then when I found out my mom was at the hospital and was alive, they said that I couldn't go see her because she was under a assumed name, a trauma name. She was under a different name because she was in the trauma unit or whatever it is when they give people a different name until, and then you're able to go see them. So that night I couldn't go see her. They told me I wasn't allowed to see her. So I think the next day is when I went to go see her. I can't remember. But basically I was told that I couldn't see her and that they had her under a different name. Like, nobody could go see her. Her brothers tried to go see her, couldn't see her. That was a thing. Like, yeah, I don't know why people keeps complaining or people says stuff they don't know nothing about. I didn't even know that my mom was alive. I was till the sun was up. This happened at like 3 or 4 in the morning. Crazy, huh? My mom literally asked the cops where I was. And if you're talking about that body cam footage, the cops cannot tell her anything, and they cannot tell me. Obviously, it was a carjacking for safety reasons. Duh. People could take advantage of that situation. Yeah, but the police didn't tell me that she was asking for me. The police didn't tell me anything because they couldn't tell me anything. I don't know how many times I have to explain that to you. It's so frustrating. Like, God forbid. I sat in a cop car for hours. I got out of the cop car and the cop got mad at me for even getting out of the car because some lady walked up and said what was going on. And he said, see, that's why we stay in the car. I was in the back of the cop car. I was already not, it was like, I didn't feel good. Like, I was stuck in the back of the cop car, and you know how the back of the cop cars are. I needed to get out and stretch my legs. I went to do that, and some lady came up. You know how people are when they see something, they're nosy. So she went up, and she was like, she said, what's going on? And he said, ma'am, we can't tell you. We were literally there at her work. And then that's when he told me, see, that's why you, he said, that's why you literally stay in the car. So then I had to get back into the car and sit there. My aunt and uncle came in, and then I had to wait because they had to interview me. So they basically had to write everything down that I was telling them from what I witnessed till he took off with the car with my mom in it. So I had to tell them the whole story of what happened. Mind you, whatever police report they're sharing where I told the police is not an accurate police report. It's a fake police report, by the way, that someone fabricated. They said any article of clothing that has blood, they had to take it. So they took my pants. So they gave me these paper pants. I had to sit there with them and tell them exactly what happened from the time that I was alerted to the time that he took off with the car, to the time that I literally even told them about the whole police thing. Literally, it's all documented, and to sit here and say that I posted a story first, no. I called the cops first, then I posted that story because I was freaking out because I was alone. There was nobody. I was screaming. I said, help, help, help. Someone call help, but I literally had my phone. Mind you, my fight or flight senses kicked in like that. It didn't kick into where I was like, oh, dial 911. You know, I was freaking out. So what am I supposed to do? He took off with my mom in the car, and the only thing I could think of is she's going to die as well. Like, my poor mom's in the car. You guys don't. Like, you guys literally tried to give this play-by-play, like John Madden, of what I should have done when you literally wouldn't have done anything better, or you wouldn't have done what I did. You don't sit here and plan these things. Sometimes you can plan that, but you're still never going to be able to do exactly what you planned. That is so weird to tell me, well, you should have done it this way. You know, maybe you should have done this. No, I freaked out because it was dark. There was no car. I saw my brother dead. He was missing an eye. Of course, obviously, I'm going to freak. And then when I finally came to being level-headed, when I finally came to my senses, or you know, I was some sort of like level-headed, then that's when I called the police, and I was like, hey, you know, then that's when you hear my distress call, which someone had literally posted that online. That is so crazy. The 911 call, and then people picking apart the 911 call. And the only reason why I accused social media in that 911 call is because of the threats that I was receiving. Of course, if anyone's receiving threats and one of your family members is murdered and social media is threatening your family, of course you're going to assume it's social media. Hello? Like, who is not? So then, after all of that happens, right, then I sat in the cop car because, first of all, they drove up to me. They said, wait here. They took off with an ambulance. I heard the ambulance. I was freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, an ambulance. This is serious. Then I walked because I was still freaked out. So I walked away from where they last saw me to the bus stop that was right there, and I was just still in distraught. I was still freaking out. So then at that point they came back because I said, no, I better go walk back because they left me alone, and I'm like, that's really odd. Like, why did the police just leave me here by myself, knowing that I was a victim of a crime, and then I'm all alone? Like, I was literally freaked out, so much so that and then I walked back, and then that's when the police put me in the back of the cop car, and I was in the back of the cop car ever since, until the sun came up. And then that's when the chaplain came and told me, sorry for your loss. And I said, are they both dead? And he said, I cannot tell you that. I didn't know for hours who was alive. And when I found out my mom was alive, I wanted to go see her. But they said I couldn't because she was under the, what is it? It's not trauma response. It's like the trauma, wherever they take people in the hospital, because my brother was in there, But yeah. Because my brother was there before when he had his accident. When my brother had his accident, and the truck hit him 50 miles per hour, they had him under a different name. Like, just because you you say, hey, I'm so-and-so, they still wouldn't. They told me I couldn't see my mom. So, yeah. But they didn't try to keep me from my mom. It's a safety thing. You have to understand. First of all, yeah, the guy was unalived. But anyone in a situation could be like, hey, I'm so-and-so's daughter. Let me go see her. And mind you, when people are in trauma, their brain does not function normally. So sometimes it could involve memory loss. So if someone says, hey, I'm Marie's daughter, and they're not Marie's daughter, and they can go in there and see her, and then she's like, yeah, this is my daughter, even though it's not, because maybe her memory was lost and she thinks that's her daughter. That's the reason why. They have to be safe. It's not because they're keeping someone from their kids. You have to understand. I wholeheartedly understand, and I do believe that how do I say this? I understand. And I also do think that is a good thing because it keeps people safe. Because anybody could just walk into the hospital and say, I'm related to so-and-so. They don't even have to. And mind you, memory loss comes with that, especially the trauma. My mom was just in a carjacking. Her mind is a little frazzled. She's freaked out. She was literally flying down the road in a car with her dead son. She literally realized her son was dead when she tried to wake him up to call 911 and said, son, call 911, and he's dead. Obviously, anybody's going to freak out. Then she passed out. She woke up to a blood transfusion in the ambulance. Of course, I would want my mom to be safe. And especially with social media, it would have been very scary if anybody could have just said, I'm Marie Lucero's daughter, walked up to the hospital, right, and could have got in, and then started asking her some questions and started interviewing her during the whole incident, because someone would have done that. I'm thankful. Look this stuff up. It's very serious, because you wouldn't want someone to go visit your relative and say that they're related to your relative, like anybody, and they don't even have to know you. They can just decide to choose you as a victim. You know what I mean? Like, some of you guys really have to use your brains. You don't have to be famous to have people after you. It wasn't about being famous. It's about the fact that someone would have done that, because that's how evil people are. Someone literally said, and I quote, I am asking your friend for an interview on her side. Okay, is that not weird? They've already, hello. Some of you guys, it's not about being famous. No one said anything about fame. Weirdos are weirdos. No one said I was coming to you. Did I come to you for anything? No. Weird. The reason why I didn't move in with my uncle is because my uncle never knew we were homeless. So there's that. I don't know. He didn't offer us a place to live. So, yeah. I don't know where people got that from. And to be honest with you, I had so much going on. He didn't offer us a place to live, by the way. I don't need to explain why I didn't move there. No, he didn't offer us a place to live there. My mom and my brother wanted to go stay with him because, they thought that was a good idea at the time. It's not. My brother can't be at work while he's throwing us out, telling us to get out of the house. I'm not staying in a house that does not belong to him. Okay? He stole the house that was not that house. In the will, it was said to go to his son. I'm not even going to get into everything. He took a house that wasn't his. My grandma never wanted that lady in her house. His girlfriend, she never wanted his girlfriend in that house. He threw us out on the streets when me and my brother were in elementary school when we were little. He would come yell at my mom every single day for everything. So you're telling me that me and my brother can come back, but my parents can't, and you want me to leave them homeless? And no, it's not better than a car because we would have been back in the car. There's no point to go somewhere. We didn't have a place to live. You're not understanding that. He would have threw us into the streets. I'm not gonna go live with somebody who is rude and a-hole and would have put us back in the streets. We didn't have a place to live. And for you to say that, that's like, if you cut off a toxic family member, that's like me telling you, hey, go back to your toxic family member. We didn't have a bed. What bed? What bed? The house was being renovated. What are you even talking about? He tore the house apart. The second he got the house, he started remodeling it. There was no bed. We would have literally had to sleep in the living room on the couch. I don't even know what you're talking about. Considering the fact my uncle's an a-hole, he would have threw us back into the streets. I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter whether I was at my grandma's house. It doesn't matter if I was living with my uncle. To be 100% honest, right? And I'm going to tell you the truth. Gun violence would have still happened whether we had a place or not. That does not, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Okay, let's say that I did live in a place and my brother defeated death. Okay, that doesn't mean he still wouldn't have died some other way. You can't defeat death. You can't you can't sit here and literally say, tomorrow is not promised. tomorrow is not promised. And I'm not saying that I wanted my brother to die, but to be honest, yeah, you can wish to go back in time and say, well, if I would have did this, maybe he would be alive. But then he could have died from something else, because maybe, people say, and I hate when people say God was like, it was their time to go. I really don't like that. But to be honest with you, that is very sad. Like, I'm still trying to process. Like, to be honest, you can't defeat these horrible things from happening. Gun violence happens every day. It has nothing to do with being homeless. Those kids that got shot up at the elementary school did not get shot up because they was homeless. That's horrible logic. Like, you really have to use your brain and think. I'm not saying it's Final Destination, but you have to think of it like, my thought process is like, you can't defeat death. It doesn't matter if we had a place or not. You're not using your brain. Like, what part of that does not compute? You're literally saying that if we weren't homeless, he would still be alive. It still doesn't matter. We don't know why the guy did what he did. I don't know. The guy's dead. He could have had a target on us. He could have targeted us anywhere we were at. We could have been living somewhere and he could have still shot my brother. Who knows? Maybe he could have killed my brother when we was not there. When my brother was out at a car meet somewhere. I do not know why this guy did what he did. Yeah, we were at the park at night, and maybe from what I heard, which I can't confirm that story because I'm not too entirely sure, but from what I can gather, they said he was running from police. But again, I do not know if this guy came from social media because his ex falsely called him a predator. Who knows? Maybe this guy wanted to take matters into his own hands, and he decided to be the law and the justice. I can't. Like, I can't sit here and literally speak like the guy's dead. He's not going to tell me why he did what he did. Even if we had an apartment, he still might have murdered my brother. He could have found out where we were at because maybe someone could have doxed us again, and then my brother could have been murdered. I do not know if this guy came from social media. I don't know everything. Yeah, the case might have been closed, but they didn't tell us anything about the case. They only told us bits and pieces, and mind you, whatever was posted in the Albuquerque Journal, I do not know if that was the guy. I saw him for a brief second. He was bald. He had on a black shirt, a black muscle shirt, I believe is what I told the police. I can't really remember. And I think he had on like plaid, white and blue plaid shorts. I can't really remember. All I know is he was bald. He was angry. He kept trying to get into the car. I got to look at him, but I was so freaked out that literally everything happened so fast that I don't really remember anything. And then on top of that, you know what I mean? Like, all I know is what I saw from the news, which I think the news said he was running from the police. I really don't know, but I'm like, this is so crazy to even have to explain this. But for me personally, because of the threats I was getting from social media, mind you, people literally said exactly what happened. They went online and they told my mom, they said, we're going to pull your daughter out of the window and you're going to shoot up their car. That's literally what they said. And this was right before the carjacking happened. So for you to sit there and like expect me not to think this is from social media is crazy. It's literally documented on my mom's station head. We got the proof. I could have provided that to the police. This is before the carjacking. You can't, I cannot sit here and say shoulda, coulda, woulda. A job does not prevent gun violence. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, is to victim shame someone. The parents that work, that go to a job, then how do you explain the mass shootings that happens at schools? That is dumb logic. You can go to a store and get shot up. You could go home and get shot in your own home. Someone breaks in and shoots you. You can get shot up in your own place. You can get shot up anywhere. It does not matter. To literally sit here and tell me this, and this. I don't know that. And you don't know that either. You can't go off of an Albuquerque journal. The news article lies all the time to make stories. If it doesn't come from the police, if there was no press conference, if there was no police to tell you what they gathered from it, then you shouldn't believe it. If it doesn't come directly from the police, then it's not true. Because why would you do that? Why would you listen to someone that's not the police? If you didn't hear from the police, then why would you run with that? Literally, Peter Garcia, right? I don't even know if that's the guy. You're literally putting it on someone you don't even know. You're spreading misinformation. Did the police tell you that? Because the police are not going to give any information to the people that weren't involved. They're only going to give information to the ones that were involved. Hence, my family, the guy that was crashed into him with a Jeep, and the security guard, they are not going to give people outside of that any information. So whoever, like Ash Too Trippy, that is posting that information, it's falsified information. They're not going to hand over her that information. And if she claimed that she called the police and got information, then she fabricated documents, which means that she could get in trouble for that with a lawyer. She can get sued for that. She could get in some serious trouble for fabricating documents. They're not going to give people information that was not a part of the whole situation. I do not know if he had prior charges. I don't know anything. And if he did have prior charges, that's messed up, because he's a repeat offender. So you let this guy back out to harm people. If that's the case. They let this guy back out to harm people. And I cannot blame point fingers or whatever. I do not know. The police didn't tell me anything. They interviewed me and that was it. We haven't heard nothing. We don't know too much about the case. I'm not in boots, actually. I'm wearing my Nikes. My Air Force, I think they are. Well, you have to think about it. First of all, if he just wanted the car, he wouldn't have shot my brother in the head. Ask yourself that question. Why did he shoot my brother in the head first when my brother wasn't even a threat? My brother was asleep. He shot my brother in the head while my brother was asleep. Not a threat. So, if it was just a carjacking, then he wouldn't have shot him in the head. My brother isn't a big dude, by the way. This guy was a huge dude. My brother is skinny and scrawny. Yeah, he can fight. He's got strength. But my brother was skinny. Not a threat. No weapon. My brother didn't have no weapons whatsoever. You have to really think. If it was just a carjacking, then he would have just threw us out of the car and took the car. He wouldn't have just shot my brother in the head like that and then took the car. I was asleep. What was I supposed to do? You're saying I did nothing to stop because I heard pop, pop, and I was asleep. I thought it was fireworks because people online said that they were going to blow up our car. So I thought maybe they were trying to pull some sort of prank. They pulled a prank before where they pulled up to the SUV, slapped a bunch of sticky notes to the car, and my brother chased them down because they didn't see my brother was behind the car, parked behind the car. Mind you, that's what I assumed. I'm half asleep. I don't know what's going on. I just woke up and I'm asleep. So then I got back under the blankets because I said, well, my brother, he looked asleep. He sleeps with his mouth open. So I assumed he was asleep. I didn't see he was missing an eye until I got back out of the blanket the second time and realized he was dead. I looked, and it looked like people was trying to prank us like trolls. So then I got back under the blankets because I was like, at that point I didn't see no windows busted. So then I get back out from under the blankets, and I'm literally looking, right? I'm literally looking at everything that is going on, everything that is happening. So then I looked over and I saw my brother had an eye. I see this guy keeps trying to get into the car. He's real angry. He's going all over the place, right? He's trying to get into the car. That's why he's like going around trying to get into the car. So he's on my brother's side of the car. Mind you, he had already shot the windows out. I didn't know my mom was shot. I thought he busted the windows out because he came to my window and he busted my window in, and then he tried to pull me out. So I used my weight so he couldn't pull me out. Then he tried to pull my mom out of the window. He couldn't do that. So then he jumped in the driver's window. He jumped through the window, sat on my brother dead, and tried to start the car and take off after that whole thing. Mind you, he didn't need to shoot my brother in the head to just take the car, which is so beyond weird. I can't sit here and tell you what his motives are. I wasn't in that guy's brain. That guy is no longer living. We can't just sit here and assume. But for me personally, everything that people said, all the threats and stuff, that literally happened. How people wrote the threats. PTSD, it's not like that. You can't turn on and off your PTSD. You don't get PTSD from talking about your situation. PTSD could get triggered in multiple ways. Like if I hear like a loud pop, that triggers me. Some certain loud noises do trigger me. Like I said, when I'm in the median and I hear the cars and I hear whoosh, 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 then I freak out. Like, yeah. How was my brother in the way if he was asleep? You don't shoot someone in the head that's asleep. And it's not every single time I'm in the median. When I get triggered by something, especially if a car is going slow, that really freaks me out because I don't know if they're gonna, I'm talking about when I'm in the median, when I'm about to cross the street. And not every car with a loud noise is gonna trigger me because I don't just sit here and say, oh, I'm triggered. That's not how PTSD works, especially because that loud car is kind of far away. Like somebody's oxygen tank made a loud noise because I think they put it in wrong or something happened, and it made a loud noise, and I went to my room right away because it felt like I was back in the car. And I even said, I went running, like if I was running away from the carjacking. I don't listen to music in movies loud, and even if I do listen to it, to be honest with you, I said certain loud noises trigger me. And to be honest, I can listen to some loud noises. And yes, sometimes I do get triggered. It's not a thing where I can turn on and off my triggers. I just literally said that. Yeah, like I literally said, it was random. We were in the wrong place, wrong time. But again, I cannot judge what was in that guy's mind. I was not in that guy's mind. And to be honest, when I say things right, we can't sit here and say what it is or what it isn't. You're not a forensic person. If you worked in forensics, if you worked on the police force at that time, then you could be able to say, yeah, this is what happened. Like I said, someone said, and this is documented on my mom's station head, they literally said, we're going to pull her out of the window, you're going to watch, or we're going to shoot up the car. That's literally what they said. The cops didn't tell me they haven't told us anything. I don't know anything. All I know is is what I told them about what happened. Like I said, it could have been someone from social media. We do not know that. You do not know that. I do not know that. The guy is not living. Thank God, because I don't want to have to relive seeing him again. I wouldn't want to have to go to court and have to face him. But we cannot sit here and judge. That is so crazy. Like, well, not even judge, but to sit here and try to decipher things. Like, I can't tell you, you can't tell me. I was there. The only thing I can tell you is from everything that happened that I was there. I wasn't in his brain, so I can't tell you if he came from social media or not. If he was running away, then why did he jack the car and shoot my brother in the head? Does that not make sense? And then he crashed into a Jeep. If he was running away, then he would have ran away. And you're literally just posting statistics, which proves my point. Carjackings can happen when you go to the store. Come out of the store, someone could jack your car, like they tried to do this old lady here in New Mexico. I think it was somewhere, and they stole this old lady's car. They unalived her, and then they took her car. Hello, like, and she had a job. I'm getting bit up by mosquitoes. I didn't say I was waiting for that, so you're getting blocked. I literally just explained what I said. So, go somewhere. I literally said we don't know what the guy's motives were. I don't know if that guy came from social media, so he could have already been scoping us out before then, which means that if we would have had a place, he still probably would have murdered my brother. It didn't matter. We still probably would have had that happen. It didn't matter if we had a place or not. To tell someone that carjacking wouldn't have happened if we would have had a place is victim shaming, and it's weird. So stop victim shaming people and saying that they deserve the carjacking because they don't have a place to live. Homeless people do not deserve to die because they don't have a place to live. That is weird. All those homeless people that are out in the street right now, and there's a lot of them in Albuquerque, I'm not going to say they deserve to die because they're homeless. That's what people are saying, and it's weird. It's implied. You sound just like that news anchor that said, shoot all the homeless people. You cannot say that, and I cannot say it's a random act of violence. Did the police tell you it was a random act of violence? No. My God. I'm not even going to argue with people. You can have it. Okay, it's a random act of violence. It's random. Because you said so. I guess you work for the police now. Why am I gonna ask the cops about something that happened like a year ago? I don't need to ask the cops to clear it up. They're not gonna give you that information. That's what I'm telling you. They're not gonna give you that information. You wasn't a part of that. You can't, I'm not gonna sit here and ask the cops a question because you want proof. You sitting here making assumptions is weird. That's like making assumptions on a case you know nothing about. That doesn't help the case, especially if a case is unsolved. This is why cases go unsolved, because people give unsolicited, and then they start calling with tips that don't even pertain to the case. I do not know if it was a random act of violence. You do not know. Because if you know it's a random act of violence, and that you're saying you knew the guy, so you knew him? Hello, you didn't know him. You wasn't his family member. I didn't know him. Nobody knew him. You wasn't in this guy's head to know if he was doing that or not. My God. What proof indicates he's a troll? Okay, I'll tell you what proof might have indicated he was a troll. The fact that people said before this carjacking happened, which I've already told you, on my mom's station head, we have those comments. They said that shoot up the car. They literally said, we're going to pull your daughter out of the window and you're going to watch. I don't know what more proof is that, considering the fact the guy tried to pull me out of the window while my mom watched. Do you need any more proof than that? And we literally have the screenshots of that. My mom has that on her phone. It's documented on station head. It was on a station head. What more proof do I need to give you? People were making threats saying that they were going to unalive my family. Am I not supposed to take that seriously? How would you feel? Okay, if someone said that they were going to harm your family, and then something happened to you and your family, and your family was unalived, are you not going to think it came from social media? You're going to say, no, it isn't social media related. Nah, of course you are, because, You know why the guy died in the attack? It doesn't matter if he died in the attack or not. He died because he was trying to run. Or I don't even know what he was trying to do. All I know is the security guard, him and the security guard got into an altercation and he unalived him. So I'm pretty sure he tried to unalive the security guard. So do you think the security guard is going to let this guy take his life? You know that they're trained for that, right? He wasn't going to let that guy take his life. It was either him or the security guard. That doesn't even have anything to do with that. So be it. So what? What if he died? That doesn't change the fact that it could have came from social media. That still doesn't make it any different. Haven't you ever heard of... And anyways, let's put it this way, even if it was planned, you can't plan whether or not you're going to live. That does not make sense. That's like sitting here saying, oh, well, if he would have planned it, then he would have never passed away because he didn't plan to pass away. You can't control the outcome of the situation. That does not make sense to say that, oh, well, then he would have never died. No, you don't know that. You're not a mind reader. We can't sit here and control the outcome of the situation. And what would have happened if he would have lived? It doesn't matter whether he would have lived or died. Like, hello? Drug addicts are not crazy people, and yes, Albuquerque does have a lot of crazy people, but considering the fact that there are crazy people online that have said that they were going to unalive my family, considering the fact that it's not even in the city, there's crazy people online. Someone literally said that they manifested I get raped by my dad, so explain that. You can't explain that. Like, half of the internet is crazy. They still stalk and harass me. That is literally mental health issues. You can't compare one to the other. I'm out of my mind because I'm literally speaking the truth. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy people in Albuquerque, right? But especially the fact that they exactly said what happened. I am not going to argue with you. Someone said we're going to rip your daughter out of the window. You're going to watch, shoot up the car. I don't care what you're trying to tell me differently. But if someone says that online, then I'm assuming that somebody came from online. Just because you want to defend social media is weird. You don't want to be held accountable for anything. You want to say, oh, we're not to blame. It wasn't us. It didn't come from social media. Okay, defend that all you want. You're still defending gun violence. I wouldn't be sitting here defending gun violence, considering the fact that that's not going to end gun violence. And you literally just proved something that is very dangerous. How is it that a crazy person is allowed to get their hands into weapons? How is it that a crazy person got a gun in his hands, knowing that he had mental health issues and he was crazy, right? Because obviously, people that do that are not in their right mind. So why would he literally be able to get easy access to a gun? And instead of arguing with a gun violence victim, because, mind you, I was in the carjacking, whether he shot me or not, I'm still a victim of that because my brother died due to gun violence. It could have been me instead of my brother. Instead of arguing with me, why don't you go take to the streets and fight against gun violence instead of defending it? Because it's so weird you're sitting here defending gun violence because someone didn't have a job. What does not having a job have to do with gun violence? It's weird. But even so, it shouldn't be easy access for someone to go to a pawn shop and get a gun, especially because they should be doing background checks to make sure that these people do not get guns. It does not matter. For me, like, there was a young boy that got unalived at a light because the guy road rage. The guy brake checked him, made a U-turn, and unalived him. They took to the streets to protest against gun violence here in Albuquerque. This just recently happened, and that was the guy that I saw his dead body. Mind you, I'm not sitting here trying to tell the mom, well, maybe if you did this, this would have never happened. No, instead, you should be taken to the streets protesting and fighting against gun violence instead of defending it. It's weird. Then you're victim shaming someone and telling them that they wasn't a victim because they didn't get harmed enough, which is so weird to me. That's another thing too, saying like, oh, you didn't get hurt enough. It does not matter if my state is full of crazy people. You're sitting here defending gun violence is wild and weird to me. It does not matter. There's a bunch of crazy people on social media. You can see it every day. People post crazy stuff. Gabby Hanna's crazy and she's on social media. That foodie guy is crazy and he's on social media. And he's the one that does really, really weird, crazy stuff. He was the one, I forget his name. And he literally said that he was going to come across state lines and do something to me because I exposed him for being a racist. There's so many crazy people online. Donald Trump is crazy. So what does that mean? Yeah, there's crazy people in my state, but there's crazy people online. So that doesn't rule out the fact that it could come from somebody online. There's crazy people online every day. They stalk celebrities. Celebrity stalkers. And they stalk the celebrities online, and then they go and take their sick obsession from online into real life, like that lady that was so obsessed with Rihanna that she went to her house and shot it up while her kids were there and she was there. People take their sick, weird, fantasy, crazy obsessions from online to real life. Just because there's crazy people in Albuquerque, it does not rule out that it could have came from social media either, because there's crazy people on social media. By your logic, okay. But I also just proved to your logic. No, a random act of violence is not actually, that is false, considering the fact that during COVID, cyber stalking rose in percentages. And if you don't know what cyber stalking is, that is stalking someone through the internet. There was this one guy that took his sick obsession of cyber stalking someone from his high school to actually stalking her in real life. She reported it to the police and the police did absolutely nothing. So by your logic, it does not matter what is more over more. I could be the 1% that got targeted from online. It does not matter. Even if it's a small percentage, I could be a part of that small percentage. Again, that still does not disprove my point. We can't sit here and just say it was a random act, because it's lower online than it is in real life. Okay, but I still could be a part of that low percentage. And this doesn't, because the thing is you're saying, yeah, there's crazy people in Albuquerque, then how come we've never had anything? We've had stuff crazy, but not like to that extent happen. It's still like things happen every day you can't control. Like I said, and this was not trying to say that I wished my brother died. That whole point being is it's like that one episode of Family Guy where Peter had to become Death, and he didn't want to unalive the kids of Dawson's Creek, right? So then people realized, because Death took a break, that basically they had immortality. What I was trying to say is that nobody has immortality. We cannot sit here and say that, oh, we're guaranteed life, because I'm trying to tell you, you don't know. Like what I'm trying to say is life is too short. You don't know what's going to happen to you from one day to the next. You can't walk out those doors and say that you're going to be alive, because you don't know that. You don't know what some sicko's going to do when you walk out of the door and they just shoot you in the head. You don't know that when you go to the grocery store, that someone had a bad day and they take their anger out on people. You do not know that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Life is short. You can't sit here and say that you know. The police didn't give you any information, nor did they give me any information. Use your common sense. It had nothing to do with wishing my brother died. It had nothing to do with saying my brother still would have died. I don't know. I do not know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I do not know how long my brother was going to live, if we would have had a job and if we would have had a place. We do not know. Life is not promised to us. Just because we're living does not mean that, you have to literally use your common sense. You can't walk out of those doors and just think that you're invincible. Nobody is immortal. Nobody's invincible. Use your brain. That is not twisted. That has nothing to do with being twisted. That's literally telling the truth. No one's invincible. I almost got ran over by a truck. I almost got hit by a truck. I could have been killed by that truck. I didn't know that the truck was going to run me over. Yes, when I was crossing the street, and I stopped a little bit because I said, I know this truck is going to keep going, right? But then I continued to keep walking because, I was waiting for the cars to go. And I said, well, maybe I can make it fast enough, right? But I did not know that was going to happen to me, just like I did not know the carjacking was going to happen. I'm not that so Raven, okay? I'm not out here seeing the future. We do not know what happens when we walk out those doors. That's what I'm trying to say. My senses are more heightened because I have PTSD. Now I really have to worry and watch my back. When someone slows down, that scares me. Because it's like they could slow down, pull a gun out on me, and then laugh, and it'll be a play fake gun and think that it's funny. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, some people make jokes out of things and it's not funny. There's nothing funny about what happened to my brother. There's weird behavior when it comes to defending gun violence. Gun violence didn't happen because we didn't have a job. That's the stupidest thing I heard in my life. My brother had a job. So by your logic, that's stupid. Well, actually, he was doing DoorDash, but he had a job until his job closed, but that still didn't make any sense because by your logic, if we would have had a job, which I did have a job, then that still doesn't prove that the gun violence should have happened. That's stupid. I'm not stressed out because of only just the internet. There's a lot of other things that I'm struggling to deal with, especially my major depression and my dark thoughts, because I'm trying to survive. It's other things as well, and it's recent situations that I'm also having to grieve on top of grieving my brother, and to tell someone how to act is crazy. Whether I was on social media or not, I would still have these problems. I would still have stress. I still have stress. I cried myself to sleep last night and then have to literally try to tell myself that I'm okay when I know I'm not okay. I didn't want to come on here and say that I was sad today, because then if I come on here and keep saying I'm sad, nobody cares. So it's better for me to just hold it in, and wish for me to be in the dirt. I'm not going to harm myself, but that's just my thought process because of my depression. I'm not going to harm myself or hurt myself, and I have to keep saying that, but my thoughts go there because I'm saying, do I deserve to be on earth? There are so many things that is going on with me. Whether someone's talking to me or not, that has nothing to do with it. My mind is still always going to be that. And I don't care if people thinks it's for attention. I don't care if people thinks it's baiting. It's not baiting. I'm trying to survive and not take my thoughts to the point where it gets so bad that I decide to act on it. That's why I'm working on fixing myself and talking with my therapist and getting actual help to fix myself. Well, literally, if I don't tell you how I'm feeling and I'm holding it in and I'm harboring my emotions, then that makes it a lot worse, considering the fact I only see my therapist once a week, and I can only see him once a week. I can't see my therapist more than that. Where, like, if it was a different therapist where they could probably see me more than once a week, then that would be great. But I'm only able to see him once a week, and I've already talked to everyone about my problems. So I needed to let it out and talk to people, because holding it in is making it worse. And there are people who cares. There are people who literally ask me if I'm okay. There are people who wants to know. And like I said, I'm not talking about the situation anymore. I'm going to just try to act happy and pretend like everything's okay when it's not. Everything that happens to me, I get victim shamed. And it's so crazy. Oh, that didn't happen to you. Like I said, which you're not understanding. When I said that I believed that it was someone from social media, you do know that they leaked the 911 call where I said that it might have came from someone from social media. I didn't bring that online. They brought that online. That's why I mentioned that. Because I literally said it was in the 911 call. And I literally explained why I said that in the 911 call. It was already leaked. Mind you, people was already saying this before I said it, because they leaked the 911 call where I said when I called the police that it was someone from social media, that I thought it was someone from social media. Where in the 911 call I said that, and they were like, why would she blame the internet? Why did she say that? Like, why are you asking me why I said anything? If my trauma response is freaking out because, yes, I was getting threats, so I'm not supposed to think that. Like, and I don't get why people just be sitting here and still defending gun violence. Why are we sitting here still defending gun violence? What is wrong with you? It does not matter what someone did or didn't do. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't know. Like, there's no right way to react in a carjacking. That is really weird. There's no wrong way to there's no wrong way to react in a carjacking. That's so weird to expect someone to react right or wrong. It's weird. Because people love to defend gun violence. They literally keep bringing it up every single live stream and say that my brother would be alive if I had a job. Out of nowhere. And it was because I posted that video today. People are so heartless and rude, and then you're asking why we're talking about this, but you literally don't call out the people for... My God. I'm not even gonna argue. Yes, it is defending gun violence because someone said if I had a job, my brother wouldn't have been shot. That literally is defending gun violence because what does someone being shot have to do with having a job? People get shot and they have a job. That does not make sense. Telling somebody that that carjacking would have never happened had I had a place to live is outrageous considering the fact that people get carjacked and literally have a job. So what does that got to do with anything? It doesn't matter if I was in the car or not. Carjacking would still happen with people that have places to live. You see, and then you call me stupid, but you're still sitting here defending gun violence. What does me having a job have to do with gun violence again? I'm not even gonna sit here and argue with you. I gotta go. And I found out that McDonald's brought back the Big Mac sauce. Mac sauce. You know how they had it like in dipping sauce form? They brought it back. Y'all were living in the car at the time. Point is, if you had joined to make money and doing things, you wouldn't have been there at the time. So that means that you're defending gun violence because if I had a job, he wouldn't have been shot at. That does not make any sense. Again, no matter what you try to say, you're still defending gun violence. It doesn't matter how you say it. You wouldn't have been there at the time, yeah? But we could have been at Walmart and got carjacked and had a place to live. We could have been at a motel or a hotel and got carjacked and had a place to live. We could have been in an apartment and he could have got carjacked and we would have had a place to live. It doesn't matter where you are. You cannot, like, oh my God. I'm not even going to argue with you because you're like, you would have never been there if you would have had a place to live. We could have been anywhere and been carjacked and had a place to live. What does that have anything to do with the carjacking? That has nothing to do with that. The cops didn't tell me this happened because you didn't have a job. The cops didn't tell me that my brother was murdered because I didn't have a job. You see how stupid that sounds? And then you try to say it any other way, like as if you're not defending gun violence. That is so weird. Doesn't matter which way you say it, you're still defending gun violence. The cops never told me it was my fault because I didn't have a job. And they know that. We're living in the car. And literally, yes, people have directly defended the gun violence because they said we deserved it. So to tell someone that they deserve gun violence is weird, and literally saying that we deserved it because I didn't have a job or because someone didn't like me is weird. Even people have literally made posts online. People have literally called out people for saying that they told me I deserved it. Yeah, they did. They did say that because someone literally actually made a video. And they say that under the comments of the post that I posted about my brother. And they literally DM me that. I don't have to take screenshots and show you. They literally said that it was deserved. Anyways, I gotta go charge my phone and I'm getting bit up by mosquitoes. Maybe it's because those allegations are not true and they came from someone who was being investigated by APS for touching students because they wanted a deflection. My brother's ex literally was being investigated by APS for touching students, so she has no right to speak. She sent her own nudes to a student's parent. Anyways, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go charge my phone and get some sleep. No, they're not true. She made a fake photo. When she said that my brother got arrested, he got arrested for a traffic violation. You could literally look that up. She tried to use the fact that my brother got arrested for a traffic violation to make it seem like he was getting arrested for something else. It's public knowledge. You can go look that up. I don't need to show you anything. You got fingers. Go look it up. Anyways, have a good day or night where you guys are. And for those of you who are rude, I don't care if you have a good night, okay? I really don't. But for those of you who weren't rude, have a good day or night where you guys are. I will see you guys later. I gotta go charge my phone. Bye, guys.